Okay. Welcome everybody to Online Dating. My guest today is Shadow Green. Cheryl, right?
Yes,
Am I
thank
pronouncing it right?
you are. You got it. You're good.
Okay. Well, the reason why Cheryl is here is because Kathy Kulisha recommended her.
And everybody's like, "Who's Kathy Kulesha?"
I had Kathy on Meet My Friends. She was my guest number 9.
Nice.
So for people who follow the shows, Cheryl is a good friend of Kathy. So Kathy recommended when I posted that I needed guests for my online dating show. So she popped up the name right there, and Cheryl was scared that I will put it on the bus for finding someone, but this is not what it is about.
Yeah, my boyfriend's been really patient about me having so many male friends, but I didn't think he'd like me going on a dating show. So,
Yeah. I understand that. So basically, the purpose of the show is to give people tips on how to date, and so they understand it that we can probably help someone finding their significant one.
awesome.
And
I
you
love
having
it.
a boyfriend qualifies you to tell us how you did it.
Yeah, so oh my goodness, I have been doing online dating on and off probably, yikes, probably like 7 or 8 years. I got divorced back in 2008. And I mean, when I wasn't in a relationship since then, I've been trying online dating. I don't do a lot of the, bar things and like league sports that you're supposed to meet people. So I've worked out of my house for the last 4 years. So it's like, okay, you got to meet them somewhere. And I've tried online dating, and I have to say, I've met some amazing guys. I really have. The whole, there's no good guys out there. There's no good people on online dating. That's just not true. You just kind of have to weed through the garbage. Sorry. Um, but it doesn't mean that every guy you meet is the right one, or every woman you meet. Hopefully I got the right one this time. But yeah, it's just been a journey, and I it can be really disheartening doing online dating. So I thoroughly understand people's pain when they talk about it. I have been there, and I actually started writing a book about it just because I wanted people to know they're not alone.
What would you recommend for someone that is thinking dating online as an option?
um be picky. And I know that sounds like kind of, I don't know, bougie, or if you will, but there are a lot of people out there, and you need to know what you're looking for. So if you're just looking for a hookup, congratulations, that's fine. Like, no judgments. Um, but if you're actually looking for a relationship, you need to be careful how you present yourself on your profile, what photos that you choose to really show off who you are, and not show off too much of who you are, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Um, but you just really need to be careful, who you get into conversations with and how far you take it. There's a lot of really weird people out there, kind of, that'll just jump into a like super like sexual or super kinky
Yeah.
conversation right away, and you're like, whoa. Like, we've only spoken for like 5 minutes, and you're already talking about some really weird stuff. So yeah, just be careful, and be careful how you present yourself out there.
Yeah, I joined a group once and I was only there for 2 days because I felt like I was meat. And everyone just kind of jumped on me. Some of them were very direct, so I was kind of
Yeah.
scared and I just got out kind of quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I do believe that there are nice guys and nice women out there, and you just have to find them and be patient.
Now, are you still writing the book? Or is it gonna be out?
So I'm not entirely sure. So the funny thing is, I started writing this book probably 3, 4 years ago, and I positioned it as a what not to do book,
Yes.
because I've made mistakes, but I've seen so much out there that is like, oh, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
And it's super funny, like really like light and, enjoyable read. But I realized one day that I was going into dates going, I hope this is a good story. And I was like, you know what? I'm not online dating to write a book. Like, ultimately, that's not the goal. Like, the goal is to find somebody to spend my life with, because I really do like being in a relationship. And I realized that, like, the energy that I was putting out into the universe, however, your listeners want to interpret that in their own belief structure, whatever. But the energy I was putting out was, I hope that this is a disaster.
Oh, wow.
Because I want like material for my book.
Yeah.
And, every time I met somebody, I would immediately stop writing because I just lost interest in it. And then I'd be single again and I'd go back to it and be like, oh man, it's so funny. Like, every time I read the first couple of chapters, I'm like, not to pat myself on the back, but I'm like, this is kind of hilarious. But then I just realized about 3.5 months ago that I was putting out this weird energy and the book wasn't the most important thing. And I decided to table it, shelf it, whatever you want to call it. And I met my current boyfriend a week later. So take that as you will. I am considering, honestly, just throwing it out into the world, not edited, not finished, nothing. Just so people can laugh and enjoy it. And, I kind of positioned it as how not to online date, but also how to feel better about your existing relationship, because this is what's waiting outside. So, so we'll see. I don't know that I'm ever going to finish it. I may just slap an ending on it and go, hey, this worked. Like,
Well,
the end.
you could give it a spin, like start with the bad now that you're in a current relationship and what your hopes are for the future.
Yeah.
And that could make it complete.
Yeah.
If you just
Yeah.
change the concept, it doesn't have to be, maybe just change the title.
Yeah.
The bad,
Yeah.
the good, and I guess look
And
into
the
the future or
successful.
something like that.
So yeah, it's definitely, oh my goodness, it's been a journey, and my heart goes out to people that are still on there. My Match subscription actually expires in October. So it's just been sitting out there doing nothing for the last 6 months. So
Yeah. So are you still paying like type of membership?
I paid, I think it was a 6-month membership or something, and I was on it for 3, and then I met my boyfriend, so I just put it, it in dormant mode or whatever it is.
That's good. So I see books in the back of your background.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about those?
Sure, let me Vanna White those for you. So I started writing about 10 years ago. I started writing fiction, and I wrote 3 novels before I decided I didn't want to be a writer. And then a couple of years later, when I decided that I wanted to be a speaker, and I'm sure you've gotten this advice, they said, you're not a speaker, you're an expert who speaks.
Yes.
And they said, and to be an expert, you have to write a book. And I went, well, that's not that hard. I can do that, no problem. So I actually wrote Surviving to Thriving. It was the first book that I wrote. It's how to overcome setbacks and rock your life. And that was all about the kind of the crap that I've been through in my life. My divorce, the ending to my marriage was kind of explosive. And just all those ways that you kind of, all the tools that you need to rock your life, to, to feel good and to enjoy life and things like that. So that was the first book I wrote. I was speaking about resilience at that point, and I was a big part of the Unstuck Happiness Conference. I don't know if you've had John on here or will.
Not yet, but I want to have him.
Okay. All right. Well, tell him I plugged the conference for him. And yeah, then I remembered that I love to write. And I'd been doing content for businesses for a couple of years at that point. So I wrote a book about storytelling and how to use it for sales. And that was my second book. And my third one was, people kept asking me how to write a book since I had done it successfully. So I wrote a book about how to write a book, and started doing some book coaching and things like that, helping other people get their ideas out. And the last one I did is Do Good to Do Better, the small business guide to working with nonprofits to improve your business, something like that. I like long titles. And that's all about cause marketing and really how businesses and nonprofits can work together for the benefit of both.
How did it change your life writing the book or receiving that first book when you got it? See the cover and see that it has your name on it.
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember printing out that first novel that I wrote, just printing it out, not even publishing, just like having, a stack of 300 pages in my hands. And I don't have any human children, but I'm pretty sure it kind of feels similar, like holding that and seeing like what you've birthed and created and brought into this world. So it was so cool. And getting my first book like published with the cover and everything, it's just cool. So many people want to write books and probably have a decent story to tell and will never tell it for whatever reason. And it was good to know that I was able to get it out. And even more importantly, when somebody's really struggling, I have a tool to help them now. And that's been pretty cool. Hearing from people saying that they read my book and like it got them through a hard time or something like that. Like that feels really good.
I'm glad. Do you want to tell us where people can follow you or how they can contact you if they want you to help them?
Yeah, sure. So my website is SherylGreenSpeaks.com, and that's Sheryl with an S. And you can find all the information about my book coaching, my writing, speaking, all that stuff. I don't do online dating support. However, if you need help with your profile, I am now considering myself a little bit of like an online dating profile guru. I'm going to throw it out there. Just because, you know what, you got to do something to stand out above, the sea of other people on there. And photos are obviously one way, but having a really well-crafted, creative profile that talks about, really your essence is super important.
Okay.
So that I can help with.
That's good. I'm glad. So for anyone that is interested in dating online, actually,
Yep.
and you can help with that.
Yes. Yeah. Send them my way.
Tell us something funny that happened to you while dating, besides like something horrible.
Yeah, so I can actually tell you the story that convinced me I needed to write the book. And Kathy was actually the one I called when I left this date.
Yeah.
So I do animal rescue. That's a big part of my life. I worked with one for about 5-6 years now. And so I started talking to this guy online, and as you know, if you've ever done online dating, the profile pictures are like that small. They're tiny. So you really don't get a great example of what these people look like. Plus, I don't like how I look in photos. So I always want to give people the benefit of the doubt. So I went out with this guy, and I'm sitting outside the restaurant on a bench waiting for him to show up. And he starts walking towards me, and I recognize him. I'm not super shallow. I'm really not. But this guy's face was a little messed up. Like,
Wow.
yeah, he just like, I was not attracted to his face, his body, nothing. But I was like, you know what? I can still have a great conversation, great meal. Like, it doesn't mean we're gonna get married, but maybe we'll be friends or something like that. And then he opened his mouth. And I was like, okay, all right. I don't like his face, his body, his personality. Like, okay, we're going downhill fast here. But he said at one point, he was like, I really love that you do animal rescue. And I was like, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And he was like, I have 2 purebred, like, I think they were like Boston Terriers or something like that. And he goes, does that bother you? And I was like, no. I was like, honestly, what would really bother me is if you bought a pit bull, because there's just so many of them out there that, we need to be pulling them from the shelters and saving them. And I'm not going to curse here, but he goes, oh, I would never do that. I freaking hate pit bulls.
Okay.
I was like, all right, cool. You know, and that's kind of the point in the conversation where I'm like, we're done here. Like, let's finish our meal and, you know, go our separate ways. Like, you know, that's fine. That's your opinion, but not going to work for me. And he had asked me earlier what my biggest pet peeve was. And I said, it's when people interrupt, not just me, anybody. Like if you ask a question and then when they try to answer you, you interrupt. So he was doing that the whole time. And I got, so we finished dinner and doesn't bother walking me to my car, which men, seriously, like feminism, whatever it is, like, I don't know what's telling you not to walk women to their cars, but walk them to their damn cars, okay? And didn't walk me to my car. I'm like, whatever. So I get in, I call Kathy, and I was like, oh, that was date number 5 in 2 days. I had done like coffee, lunch, dinner, coffee, dinner. Like it was just nuts. And I got home and he texted me and was like, hey, it was nice meeting you, but I got the feeling you're not interested. And I was like, you know what? I don't think we're going to be a great fit. I said, but it was nice meeting you too. And I wish you the best. And he goes, can you tell me why? And I was like, ooh, that doesn't feel like something I should do. But he asked again and he's like, no, I can take it. I'm like, you know what? Like, you know, we live in this like personal development space, right? Surrounded by speakers and coaches and all these people that are like, yeah, become the best you possible. And I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll be honest. So I told him, I'm like, there's 2 reasons. I said, 1, you asked what my pet peeve was, and it's being interrupted. I said, and you did that the entire time. I said, and 2, I understand why you don't like pit bulls because his dog was attacked by one. I said, I get that, and you have the right to your opinion, but I've kind of dedicated my life to saving them, so we're not going to be a good fit.
Yes.
And he texted me back and said, well, those are both stupid. F you and F pit bull owners.
Oh, wow.
And that was the moment that I was like, we got to write a book. So, yeah. So, and there are just stories and stories like that. And everybody's got them. If you online date for more than 10 minutes, you're going to have some fantastic stories.
Yes, when I first got in, there was this guy sending me long text already, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is something I wasn't ready for." And then he says, "Well, I just want you to know me." I'm like, "Okay, I'm barely saying hi," and they're already telling you their entire life, like pages and pages. I was like, "Oh no, this is too much for me. I cannot take it."
Yes. Yeah, you've got some that'll jump in and tell you way too much, and some that can't carry on a conversation to save their life.
Yes.
It's fun.
Lately, I was listening to videos by John Gray, the author of the Venus Mars book. You know, he's very famous for that. He says he recommends that whenever you want to find someone, you need to be in a location that is appropriate for where you want to meet someone. If you want to meet someone rich, you got to be in an airport or where rich people go. But he also recommended that don't be too easy when it comes to dating. Like you don't have to go to bed too quick.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I think that's really a personal choice. It is. And you'll hear 3 dates, you'll hear 6 dates, you'll hear like, why not, like the second you meet them. And it really just comes down to personal choice and like, what are you comfortable with? And for women, I like, you know what, guys, sorry, it's just different for us. What are you not going to regret?
Yes.
Because you might have fun and that's awesome. But we are more emotional about that. So what are you not going to regret? Like, don't just do it because somebody else wants you to, or because you want to feel loved or connected or something like that. Like, if you want to do it for fun, go for it. Like, again, no judgment. Just think about how you're going to feel the next day.
Yeah. I think advice from men and women is different because we feel in a different way.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely.
For
He
sure.
also, yeah, he also recommends location in well, you know, where you are, but also he says to go to events or places where you will not normally go, that you can find people with your same values, but they will be different than you.
Yeah, I think, I mean, especially it's difficult now, there was that book, Love in the Time of Cholera. Like, I feel like we need like Love
Yes.
in the Time of COVID now. It's difficult, it's like, damn, I can't even flirt in the supermarket. Like you used to go to the supermarket, there was a cute guy standing in line behind you, you struck up a conversation. Now it's like, oh, like you're totally covered up and just, so it's hard. So yeah, I mean, if you're still going out and doing things and you can meet people where you are, that's fantastic. But I think online dating is kind of a really important part of society these days. And I know so many couples that have met successfully, it's been a good thing that way. So, don't discount it, especially right now.
You know, I think that title is very appropriate. Love in the time of COVID, and
Right?
you can include online dating as part of it, where you already have this experience.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I never read Love in the Time of Cholera, so I'm not sure
Yeah.
if that's what it was about, but you know what? It might be worth checking out and seeing if that title's been taken already.
Well, what I know about titles is you can use them. That it don't matter if it's already existent, as long as you know it's a different author, and you're welcome to make your own concept. That's what I
Yeah.
been hearing from Wayne Dyer, who already passed away, but I follow a lot of his teachings. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can, it's just harder on Amazon. Like surviving to thriving was like one of the most common phrases ever. And you can't even find my book on Amazon. You have to do like a super, super special search to get there and like put the entire title in. So it just makes it a little bit harder to find. But I feel like Love in the Time of COVID isn't that popular yet. So
Maybe you should be the pioneer. And what I think is
hopefully.
easier when people are searching for titles to search for your name,
Yeah.
because the title could be many different ones there, and it's not even if you put the whole title, and other titles that are similar will appear before yours.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
What else? What would you tell a young person that is
Mhm.
thinking about online dating as an option?
Um, I would say be safe. Be safe and be smart.
Yeah.
Because as much as you don't want to think it, there are predators out there. Up until quarantine, I would only meet in a public place. I've had people ask me before, oh, do you want to go hiking? Because I've got in my profile that I love to hike, which I do. And like, oh yeah, do you want to go hiking? Like, I don't know you. I've never met you. I don't even know your last name. I'm not going out into the wilderness with you. Like, it's just a safety thing that you need to think about. I Because of quarantine and all of that, I ended up meeting a lot of people like in parks. So we still weren't alone, but we weren't, in a restaurant or anything. But just be safe and be smart. Make sure somebody always knows where you are and who you're with. Have that one friend that you check in with, or your parents or a family member, whatever, that you're like, hey, I'm going out with this person. Send them the picture, send them their profile information, send whatever you've got. And it might sound morbid, but my background's in criminal psychology, so I'm going to go with it anyway. If you disappear, they need to have some way to track you down.
Yeah.
So yeah, be safe, be smart, and be patient.
What would you recommend an older person who is not, a techie, and they don't know how to date online, but they want to date still? What will you recommend for them as additional precautions to take?
Wow, so like meeting people in real life kind of thing?
When like someone introduces you to someone, or you meet someone in the
Yeah.
supermarket, or someone takes you out, and you
Yeah.
kind of want to have the time to meet him, but
Mhm.
I'm thinking people like over 60 years old. What would you
Oh,
recommend to them? Like someone that is still looking for love at that age.
interesting. I mean, I would honestly, I'd say the same thing. Like, you still need to be safe. I've never invited anybody to come pick me up at my house for the first date. They don't need to know where I live. So, meet in a public place. Again, have somebody that knows where you're going. And I guess at that point, like, maybe just ask friends for like setups. Hey, do you know anybody? This is what I'm looking for. If you're not comfortable with the technology and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's always just, I really like go with your gut sometimes in terms of safety. Because I think, especially as women, I feel like many of us have walked into a situation before that something was off and we felt something was off and we went into it anyway and we were right. There is actually a really good book called The Gift of Fear. And I think everybody should read that because it talks about how we're like subconsciously or unconsciously picking up on messages from our environment, and it never actually goes through our brain. It just goes straight to our gut, like that, like, ooh, this doesn't feel right. But especially as women, we ignore that because we want to be nice. So we ignore that feeling of, oh, this something's wrong with this situation because we don't want to be rude or, considered nasty or something like that. When really, like, you just got to protect yourself. So sorry, slightly off track.
No, no, I like it. I love those kind of topics because sometimes it's what we need to listen to because when you don't, then when you go your way, like it doesn't go well. And I had those situations where it doesn't go well when even when you're driving and it, you just feel something, the street you're going is not right, but you're like you feel better and you
Yes.
still go there. And it makes you like being late or it makes you just being afraid and it's not a good experience and this happens in every life situation. Like you have these guides that are in this we're able to tap into the energy of the universe, and I'm glad you said that because I never thought it that way, that it doesn't cross your brain but it goes to your gut, and that feeling you need to listen to.
Yep. I had a really weird date. This was years ago. I'd actually met him. I was substitute teaching and I was covering his class, and he wanted to take me out to a drink to apologize for covering his class because his kids were awful. But we had a great time. We went to a bar. We sat there for like 2-3 hours talking. I still had my head with me. I didn't drink that much. Like, he walked me out to my car and I locked my doors. And that's not a habit of mine to instantly lock my doors. And the second he turned away from my car, I locked my doors and I drove away looking in my rearview mirror. I don't know why. He gave me no indication that there was anything wrong. This wasn't even a complete stranger. I'd met him in a real place. But it just felt off and I never went out with him again. So who
Yeah,
knows? Could have saved my life or it could have been absolutely nothing, but
yeah, but you never know. Maybe it was
yeah.
just a sign that something could have been wrong and you needed to protect yourself.
Yep. Yeah. So I chose to listen to it. And I think if we choose to listen to ourselves and not try to like squash that feeling like, oh no, I'm being silly, I think we'd be in a much better position.
No, it's good that you tell women that. I remember when I was recently divorced, I started to go out to dance, and there will be like nice guys. And I remember one time, one of the guys said, "You know what? Don't come to dance." He said because the reason why we come as men is we just come to see who we can pick up. And he says, "I see you're a good person. I see you're a nice
Yeah.
lady. Like, don't come to these places." And sometimes they'll be honest to tell you, like, be careful. This is not where you want to be.
Yep.
Did you
Yeah.
ever had anyone like telling you something like that while you were dating, like trying to protect you or telling you be careful, this is not safe, any situation like that?
Um, Not really, it's not safe. I do whenever I go on a new site, like, or update something, I run my pictures by a male friend or two. Because I never want to come off as just looking for a hookup. That's not what I'm trying to attract. And I've had friends that went like, not that picture. Like it's too kind of not even revealing, but it's kind of too like sexy. And he is like, that's not what you're looking to put out there. And he's like, don't do that. And I'm like, okay. You know, I trust that. Like having a male friend, or for guys having a female friend, that'll be like, that's not communicating what you want to communicate. I think is really, really important.
No, I can see that even on Facebook profiles, when you see a picture of a woman and she's laying down, I think that is so inviting for someone to think of her in a different way. And sometimes it's ladies who are married, or ladies who are single, or they have a business, but they have this picture, and it just makes me think that that could be a risk, because you never know who's watching all these pictures. And these guys that are unable to get someone to date, they have crazy ideas. Like there is people who has their mind is not healthy when it comes to sex and relationships, and they can see you in a different way that it could possibly harm you.
Yeah, and to be clear, like I have no interest in like victim shaming or doing any of that. Like nothing you put out there gives anybody the right to do anything to you bad. However, just, you know, keep in mind, like, what do I want to attract and how do I do that?
Yes, well, lately my son was telling me how it's been in parking lots and casinos where women have been disappearing and stuff. I think just being careful overall, regardless of what is happening. And we're in a city that is, you know, safe for the most part. We live in a country that is safe compared to many countries in the world. And I know because I come from Mexico. And just be careful, you know, not because you are looking for love or you're looking for someone to date. You need to protect yourself, and just look at every detail that you're saying, every word that you're saying, in every picture, every detail that you are leaving out there for someone to get a hold of. If there is a possibility that you're gonna be harmed, better it's better not to.
Yep. Yeah.
Definitely.
It's true. You know, I talked in one of my books about kind of the brand, your personal brand. And I had so we met in Toastmasters. I was district leadership for a while, and one of my groups, I went to visit them, and the president said, "Oh, hey, I've been following you on Facebook. You're really developing quite a brand." And I hadn't thought about it at that point. Like I didn't realize I was doing anything like on purpose. I was just being me and putting, you know, a little bit of information about different areas of my life. And I think that's something that people don't really realize, is that even with your personal Facebook, like you are creating a brand for yourself. And if you look through, like if you scroll through your Facebook feed or through your timeline, see what it says about you. You know, look at yourself from an outsider's eyes. And what does it say? Like, are you complaining all the time? Are you, you know, showing that all you do is drink? Or, you know, are you complaining about your job, which I can't get over when people do that. And it's like, you know, your boss can see that, right? Or your clients, like if you have your own business, like stop complaining about your clients. But yeah, it's all about brand and putting out like who you are and what you want the public to see.
So. Yeah, and cleanings too, I recommend it. You know, if you once in a while go and clean your friends, go and clean your post, go and clean whatever it is that the picture you loved 3 years ago where you look very sexy, maybe now is not appropriate. If you already included your business, and I can see that I need that. I have a picture where I have a short dress with a drink. I don't think that is appropriate anymore. I don't think that
like, and hopping off to edit.
Yeah, I went to dance that night to Blue Martini, but this is like, I don't know, maybe like 3 years ago, and I need to take that out, you know. I can save it for myself, but I see like it doesn't fit anymore. Yeah. What else do you want to tell us to end? Do you want to shout out anybody? Do you want to tell us again where people can contact you?
Sure. Yeah, you can contact me at SherylGreenspeaks.com, and it's just Sheryl at SherylGreenspeaks.com if you want to email me. But I always like to talk about animal rescue because that's what I do and that's what I care about most. Oh, that is what I would tell people to do. Excuse me. Men, if you want to meet a woman, go and do animal rescue. Volunteer because it is teeming with single women. And yes, some of them have a lot of cats, but that's okay. You can deal with that. And ladies, if you want to meet somebody, don't do animal rescue because it's pretty much all women. But go clean up the environment. Do one of those like park cleanups or like volunteer at Red Rock. There are some really hot guys doing that stuff. So that would be my advice for like not online. But yeah, please spay and neuter your animals. That's how I like to. We've got too many of them. Please fix your dogs and cats so that they don't have to be suffering needlessly.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time, and you're welcome to come back. And I have more shows that you can also be a part of. I have made my friends where people basically get to know you, your business, and you know the way you are. Basically, just to invite people to contact you, and then I'm gonna make Pure Soul, which talks about the spirit and these messages that we get. And what else I have? I got like 5. So I'll be promoting them all. You're already in online dating. So the way I'm gonna title your video, it's Online Dating with Sheryl Green. And if you, I forgot to allow you to record, but if you like to share the video and download it to your computer or anyway, and you can upload it to YouTube, however is convenient for you.
Okay. Yes, send it. Definitely. I'll put it online as well.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm glad you're not ghosty anymore.
Yay, you helped me.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you, Sheryl.
Bye.
Bye.